We stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters all across the land that are dealing with all these other pipelines, the Trans Mountain Pipeline. As our brother here, Reuben George, is going to get up and say a few words and conclude our prayer here today, I want to ask Reuben to come on up here.
Hey, Siam, Hojka, Siam, Siaya, Chief Skalutstan Snot, Tislewatu, Chief Yopanan Snot, Tislewatu Squamish. I just explained that from the Tislewatu Nation. That's in Vancouver, British Columbia. Not long ago, no, it feels like a little while now. It's been 3.5 years that my community had a referendum. We had a referendum and all the community members came forward and we had a vote whether to settle with Kinder Morgan, Transcontinental Pipeline, negotiate with them and settle for what they're offering, which is millions, which would help a lot of my people out of poverty. Just like the 170 First Nations in Alberta and British Columbia and Alaska, 170 nations signed the Fraser Declaration to say no. Which really confused our former Minister of our Environment. Really confused him, and he said, why don't the First Nations take the money? They need it. We don't need it more than the land, and that's why we're here. That's the message. We don't need it more than the land, and that's why we're here. You can't put a price on the sacred. An elder held up some earth, and he held up some dollars, and he said, this money could be gone tomorrow. This earth is here forever. In my language, Tislewatu people means people of the inlet. That's where we believe our direct lineage comes from. Why would we put a price on our ancestors? So when our community came to vote, my mother, she stood up and she spoke. And she said, nobody's going to sit in their seats. She said, all of you, I want you to stand up in solidarity. Because we heard stories of our relatives at the Alberta tar sands. We heard stories that the doctor told my friend they couldn't bath their daughter for more than 2 minutes at a time. I seen pictures myself with elk with cancerous cysts the size of a baseball. When they hunt and they fish, they have to send in the liver for it to get tested to make sure it's edible. The water is polluted. The doctor told my friend she couldn't bath her daughter for more than 2 minutes at a time or her child would get cancer. The highest concentration rate of cancer is in that area of our relatives. So when we voted, an elder stood up and said, that's reason enough for us to say no. When our relatives are dying, that's reason enough for us to say no. And that's what we did. My mother said, warrior up. Stand with me and be a warrior. Our grandma said that. She said, warrior up. Stand up and fight for what you believe in. Stand up and fight for what is right. So that's what we did, 110% consensus. Like all the decisions that are made in our community, the decisions of how we should govern our people. If there's any success in economic development, which our nation, we do sell and we do manufacture wind turbines, because we do believe there is some green energy alternatives. Yes. We do believe that. We can't make those decisions to make this nation a clean nation like that. But it's the people that live here that have those decisions, that can make those decisions. Across the street. Well, them too. Everybody. Because what I'm saying, it's not a First Nation problem, a tribal problem, a cowboy problem, environmental person problem. The reason why we're here too is we want to explain it's everybody's problem. Everybody's problem. So when our when we have success in economic development, we take care of our elders. We take care of the children. We put money into education, social development, employment and training. We did an elk reintroduction program into our traditional territory. First time in 130 years, our people were able to hunt elk. We invest in that, and we don't tag them and say you can't hunt that elk. That's for everybody, for the citizens of Canada to enjoy. When we do salmon enhancement programs, when our economic development puts money into that, we don't tag the salmon when they go to the Pacific and say you can't hunt that salmon or fish that salmon. That's for everybody. The decisions here that my nation has made to stand in solidarity with my relations here were for everybody. Yes. The decisions that my people made to stand with the people of Athabasca, the Keystone and the Kinder Morgan pipelines, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. So what I pray for is it's a small group here. And what I look at in Canada, when they spend 120 million on advertisement, I can't go anywhere. A movie theater, you see it on the buses, you see it on TV, you see their advertisements of the propaganda everywhere of seeing how good and how clean it is, which it's not. They say they're doing it for jobs. It's not true. Green energy jobs are 31 more jobs than fossil fuel jobs. They're saying they're doing it for our economy. It's not for our economy, it's for the ones that own those pipelines. You look at countries like Portugal, where 70% of their energy is green energy, and their economy's taken off, like Brazil and Germany. So all the reasons why they're saying it's good are lies. But the main thing is you can't put a price on the sacred. You can't put a price on where we come from and where our teachings come from. I'm glad we start with ceremony. I'm glad my relations come in the regalia and with their drums and their songs. I'm glad the other faiths come and join us. My grandfather, Chief Dan George, is honorary member of the Jewish faith and the Catholic faith. He believed if you follow those fundamental teachings of love and honor and respect and dignity, that when we stand with one another, there's nothing in our way of communicating with one another. But if we go by those teachings, just like we have in forming our governance in Tsleil-Waututh, you'll make better decisions. Unlike this government here, unlike the government in Canada, we have to push this forward to make sure that they will get in touch with their humanity. Because if they can't make those decisions for their own future generations, if they can't make their decisions for their children and their grandchildren, we will. Yes. We will make those decisions for their future generations. Even those owners of Kinder Morgan and Keystone and the Alberta tar sands, because they're stuck in their dysfunction of greed. Because they can't see their own human being inside themselves or their own children. They're part of the human race, and our teachings say we'll help them too. And we'll stand up and we'll fight for that right. For them to have a spiritual connection, a loving connection to their land, to the water. We'll teach them that too. So thank you, the organizers. Thank you for the traditional landowners of this land for allowing us to be here. The indigenous people of this land, we thank you for allowing us to be here to share some words and put down a prayer. Pisquatomy, thank you so much. President Obama, Joe Biden, this message is to you. Make a decision for your own future generations. Make a decision that is good for our country. Make a decision that is good for our land and what is good for the sacred. Haichka CMCIA.